Hello and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and ITY TV interview. I'm joined today by Sherdelle Gardner, a streamer and agent on Bigo Live, which is a social networking platform that you might not have heard about, but which is global. It's from Singapore. It's huge across Asia and the Middle East. It has over 150 countries that it's available in, with users, streamers, and viewers worldwide. So, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Shadell, we'll get to learn a little bit more about yourself in a moment and your own channel and the things that you're doing on the platform. But, I've given a sort of a brief introduction above, but how big is Bigo Live really? When did it start and what are some of the stats?
Cool. So Bigo started back in 2016 and now has over 400 million users worldwide. Like you said, over 150 different countries. Two of those countries being Australia and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
It's an app that allows you to be able to connect in real time with other people and to be able to connect outside of your own country, during the pandemic and everything like that. You were isolated in your own little towns, and we were able to hang out in Japan and hang out in America using the app and stuff like that. It's also Bigo's 50th anniversary right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite big, quite large, and definitely an app I'd suggest to everybody, anybody.
Now, most people, when they think of social media, they think of Facebook and Twitter. So, Bigo Live is a video streaming platform, but what else differentiates it from the traditional forms of social media that most people, certainly in Australia, would be thinking about?
Yeah, so before finding Bigo Live myself, I did stream on other platforms like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between Facebook or other sort of social media platforms and Bigo Live is everything is in real time. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to post a comment and come back and hope that your favorite broadcaster is gonna reply later. You can interact right there and then. There's other cool ways to have fun on the app. If you're like myself and it's a job, it doesn't ever feel like a job. It's all fun. It's all love and sharing. We gift, they gift. You build your sort of support base up, and it's all just fun. And there's a great support team. Like myself, we have many agents here on the app, but then we have an official Bigo side with the admins that are very responsive, and they're very good and very helping. Great team behind the whole Bigo app. So it's very different. I find it very different.
So, can you please tell us a little bit about your own channel and the sort of things you talk about, and how big is your following grown on Bigo Live?
Yeah, so back when I first started, it was nothing that I planned on staying and sticking around for. I just wanted to listen to some music. And on other platforms, you actually get blocked for playing other sorts of music. So on Bigo Live, I felt that I could stream my own music. I've grown to have almost 20,000 followers, which doesn't seem like a lot, but on Bigo, it's quite a lot of followers. And I now own one of the largest agencies in Australia and New Zealand, and I manage up to 130 different paid broadcasters. I also look after about 12 other families. And, families can range from anywhere from 0 to 500 people, maybe 1 to 500 other people. And I help out another 8 agencies, so it's very big. My role on Bigo is, they like to call me, what have I heard them call me? The ANZ Queen of Bigo. So I like to be known as a princess. But yeah, it's very big out here on this app.
And so, what sort of content do you create, and what is the sort of content that the other people that you're managing and helping to create content, what do they talk about? But let's start with you first.
For myself, I'm more of a social broadcaster. So I like to broadcast and be able to just interact with my viewers, tell stories. We have stories time, share music and stuff like that. But it's more just chilling and making people feel comfortable. There's a lot of people who suffer with sort of anxiety issues and that, and they're afraid to come out on the camera like myself. So I like to try and be a role model and just show people that it's okay to be who you are. For my broadcasters, what I like to call hosts, I have all sorts. Like I tell everyone, I have returned missionaries, churchies who have just returned from a mission, down to single mums that needed an income on the side. And I have really talented people. I manage quite a large number of unknown artists who through Bigo have been able to come out and be noticed, and now are gigging all around, Australia and New Zealand now. They're traveling everywhere just to do gigs, and that's from being noticed here on Bigo.
And so how long are the sessions that you normally do? And I guess those sessions would be in lieu of watching the news or some other TV show or surfing the internet. They're enjoying the content that you and your fellow creators create.
Yeah, so we like to try and broadcast for at least 2 hours. It's obviously there's requirements to being a paid broadcaster. One of those being completing 30 hours a month. So during our live streams, we like to keep them to 2 hours because that's the max amount of hours you can clock a day. Yeah. You can still broadcast for up to 20 hours if you wanted to, but only 2 hours will count. So we broadcast 2 hours. And with us broadcasting 2 hours each, we're able to jump around and support our other broadcasters. There'd be nothing worse than sitting in a broadcast by yourself. So if we see one of our fellow teammates live, then we'll go through and we'll help them out also.
And when you're speaking to people, how many people can be watching, and how many people can you interact with and have them on the screen with you live at the same time?
Yeah, well, obviously having over 400 million viewers, you could clock up to 400 million viewers at a time. There's no limit on how many people view you. Now, one of the cool things about Bigo Live is there's actually a multi-guest room where, although you're the host, instead of having people watch you and comment, you're actually able to open up and allow people to join you in the seats where it's like real-time voice interaction. You're able to just talk and I can hear them, kind of like what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And you can have up to 9 people, one of those being yourself, so 8 other people.
And they can be on screen with video, or is it just audio?
Yeah, so you can do it in either just an audio. With just an audio, obviously, no one can see anyone. It's all just voices. Then you have the multi-room guest where the host has to have the camera on all the time if they open the multi-guest, and obviously need to be on the camera. And then you have things where anyone who joins, they can have camera on or they can close their camera and you'll just be able to see like a profile picture.
Sure, and people can do it from their phones, their tablets, their computers. What are you using right now to stream?
So I'm using a phone at the moment, but I have found that Bigo works a lot better when using tablets. I think there's a lot of power in the Bigo app, and it kills phone batteries. It does kill phone batteries a lot. I've been through quite a few phones, but through a tablet, things seem to work a lot smoother through a tablet and a computer, I hear.
Yes, well, I'm using a computer right now, and but I know that on the newest iPad Pro, for example, they have this center stage where you can be moving around, and the camera will sort of follow you, even though it's not moving, because it sort of zooms in and zooms out, and that's one of the features of the new iPad Pro that came out last Friday, as we're recording this. But clearly, all of these features is what differentiates Bigo, and it's put it at the forefront of social media, which clearly a lot more people in the world discovering.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Sherdelle, you've already explained this. I've sort of jumped ahead a bit and changed up some of the questions by learning a bit more about yourself. But, how else does live streaming help to empower individuals to make better connections, to grow their audience, and even earn an income? That's one of the things that people do online these days. They make money from being online.
Yeah, for people like myself, I make money both through broadcasting and being an agent. Anyone with a talent or even socializing to me is a big talent. If you can keep a conversation with your audience, that to me is one of the biggest talents, and happens to be my most successful broadcasters don't have any talent. Their talent is just talking to people. Join Bigo, find yourself an agent. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Look into it. Make sure you know what you're signing yourself up for. But you're able to make a lot of money on this app. To give you a bit of an idea, I could, on this app alone, make about $250,000 a year. Wow. And that's from the company that own home, and there's no sort of requirements for anybody. absolutely anybody can make money. They're not going to look at you and say, no, you don't fit the description. You're not good enough. It doesn't matter what color, size, what gender you are. Everybody's welcome to make money on there. Yeah.
So clearly that's how, Bigo Live is helping artists to share their talents, whether it's playing music or talking or singing or telling stories or, giving tech advice, whatever it might be, and, build their audience and community. I mean, you're a shining example of Bigo Live doing just that, and you have learned to do that yourself and help others.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always like to ask the people that I'm speaking to what their memory of their first computer was and the first time they went online. But because I'm speaking to you, what is your first memory of the first video you ever saw on the internet? And then what's the memory of the first stream that you saw? I mean, that's 4 questions there, so I don't know where you want to start. But the sort of the first time you went online and used a computer and saw something online and then streamed something online.
If we go right back to the first thing I ever seen online, it's probably something I shouldn't have been looking at.
Okay.
Hanging out with my brothers and that. I come from a family where boys are a big thing. So we don't have sisters. We only have brothers. So it was definitely something I shouldn't have been looking at. But, the quality of Bigo Live, when I'm watching streams on Bigo, everything is just so clear. The audio is clear. The image is clear. There's lots of cool little filters. You can have pandas hanging off your ears. And, people who ain't confident in showing themselves, they're able to actually cover their face. There's a lot of masks and filters until you gain that confidence to be able to just jump on the camera. I think I have moments now where I just roll over and I'm answering my calls on there like, and they're like, you're sleeping. I'm like, oopsie. But yeah, and then back to like my first ever streams, like I mentioned earlier to you also, I didn't show face. I didn't show nothing for at least 6 months, until there was a competition and I had no choice but to show face. So yeah. Well, how many is that? That's 3, is it?
That's 2 things. So what was your first computer? Can you remember?
It was like a big box.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. It was like a grey coloured big box.
Was it running Windows? Some form of, Microsoft Windows?
I don't even know, but I know that if the phone rang, the internet cut out. It was that long ago.
Yeah, no, that's how it used to be. And so, what do you think live streaming will look like in 2030? Do you think we might have, holographic projections directly into our living rooms, or maybe even, something like in the Matrix where you're seeing it all in your brain, as opposed to putting on glasses or looking at a screen, for example?
Honestly, I really have no idea, but I'm interested to know, kind of thing. It's something to look forward to because, from what I first ever seen to what it is now, it's grown so much. So I would like to know. I know for Bigo Live, maybe my daughter will be holding the next legacy and running the biggest agency on Bigo and ANZ. But I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's reached its max kind of thing. But now you're talking about, moving cameras that are following you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, maybe you haven't quite met your max. So interested to see.
Yeah. Well, I always like to think that, with the imaginations of science fiction writers, which we see in movies and you can read about in books, and the incredible things that they show there, that for all our advanced technology that we have now, that really the advanced technology that we have is really the equivalent of the black and white TV era. I mean, when I was growing up, we still had black and white TVs. And of course, now we have 4K TVs. And 3D came and went. And I've seen displays that you can look at and you can see 3D without glasses, although they're not commercially available for the home. So definitely I can tell you, Sherdelle, that the future is very bright. As long as we don't blow ourselves up in some sort of nuclear, financial, medical or environmental disaster, the best is yet to come.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So what's the best piece of advice that you've received in life to help you get where you are today?
For me, something that I carry with me all the time is, something a friend told me once is, give everything a go. Like, never, ever be afraid to try something because, you never know what's going to come of it. for example, look where I am now, and you look at me 2 years ago, social media wasn't my thing, cameras weren't my thing. And now I just go live, I stream, I talk, I scout, and I'm, turns it into a living where it allows me to have time to, stay at home and be a mom, more time with my family, and do everything on my time. Like, I'm my own boss. I do my own roster sort of thing. So just never knock anything back. Give everything a go.
And is this now your full-time job, or are you still doing something?
This is.
Yeah.
So I actually used to be an RN, a registered nurse, specializing in mental health. And it was so hard to be a mum. My partner's all the way over in New Zealand. So it's hard to do everything. Besides that, I'm pretty much a single mum. And it's hard to manage children, school life, sports life, and shift work. I was doing 8, 10, sometimes 12-hour shifts. And then when everything kicked in, we actually had 24-hour shifts and stuff like that. So to be able to put that aside, I thought I had my life planned. I thought I had my career set. And to be able to enjoy work and live streaming and just make money by having fun and not feeling like waking up in the morning like I need to go to work today. I'm sure people feel like that. Maybe not yourself, but there's a lot of people out there that feel like, another day of work, another day, another bill paid. But for me, it's fun. It never feels like a job.
Well, it's giving you freedom. And so also, how often do you stream? Is it every day, every couple of days? What's your normal schedule?
For myself, because I balance an agency as well, I stream about 15 days a month, obviously to clock that 30 sort of hours, enough time to clock hours. And then the rest of the days, I use that time to go in and encourage my hosts to do more sort of things, create games in my host broadcast, just so that with the size of the following base that I have, they're able to follow me into my host live, my broadcasters' lives, and that helps them get that sort of exposure as well. So my streaming is only very minimum, but everyone else that I manage to, I think they might do like 50 hours, 60 hours a month. And that's only the paid hours. Other than that, they could stream. I think the most I've seen is like a 48-hour live. I don't know if they slept or what they did, but I was like, how have you been live for this long?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about people doing a 40-hour week, 50 or 60 hours a month is not that much. It works out.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all, but it can become a little bit much when you're trying to balance it with a job as well.
Sure.
But there's enough money to be made here that you don't need that other job.
So what's your final message to ITY viewers and readers, but also to current and future Bigo Live streamers, users, viewers, and your current your future agents and the people that work with you, broadcasters?
Honestly, if you're not already on Bigo Live, definitely download it, give it a go. Follow myself, look for Princess Dory, you'll find me. People don't know me as Sherdelle Gardner, they know me as Princess Dory. Find me, I'm always here to help. And where I sit in the Bigo world, there's enough room for all of us at the top. Give it a go. Just give everything a go. And I'll see you on Bigo Live.
And I'll have this in the article that accompanies this video, but that's Princess and then Dory, like the fish from Finding Nemo. There you go. Princess Dory.
It is Princess Dory. Everywhere's Dory, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's adorable. So there you go. Well, Sherdelle Gardner, Princess Dory, thank you so much for sharing everything about Bigo Live and for sharing your success and for inspiring people. And I'm going to have to give it a go myself. I mean, I can definitely... People tell me I have the gift of the gab. It's hard to shut me up. So maybe I should be opening up a channel on Bigo Live too.
I'll be there. I'll be watching you. I'll come through with those super dragons I told you about.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'll hope to talk to you again in the future.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.